So I've been in the construction field for 20 years. I'm 6'2", covered in tattoos. And in my mind, I'm not what the world thinks when they think of anxiety or a guy who's afraid to go to the grocery store.
John.
Barry.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How are you, man?
Good.
John, thanks for meeting me.
Sure. This is great for me as well.
Can you tell me about your first panic attack? And then the second one, because I know that was even more significant.
The first panic attack actually happened to me. I moved with my now wife to Florida, and I was on my way to a gym like any other day. Went to the gym, worked out, played basketball for about an hour. I got in my car, and it was hot, and then I felt really hot, and then I felt like I couldn't breathe, and then I remember like panting and sweating and this overwhelming feeling of being trapped in my car, and everything felt really small. And I actually went into a Bed Bath & Beyond parking lot, ran into the Bed Bath & Beyond, and I'll never forget the look on the cashier's face when I more or less screamed at her, "Do you have a bathroom?" so I could wash my face. And I felt better a little bit, got back in the car, drove back to my apartment, and slept for about 13 hours. And was just absolutely exhausted. Woke up, still felt very shaky, and kind of just developed from there. I felt very alone is how I felt. I felt nobody could have imagined how I felt. No one felt that way before. I started getting all these intrusive thoughts and fixating on things and couldn't stop. And I was literally counting the seconds on a clock. I remember looking at a clock, if my wife was coming home. I wasn't working at the time because we had just moved. My wife was coming home from work at 5 o'clock. Starting at 8:55 when I dropped her off in the morning, I was counting down the seconds on a clock until it was 5 o'clock. So it was an eternity of a day.
Tell me about your intrusive thoughts.
Sure. The intrusive thoughts started when I was in Florida. I had intrusive thoughts about self-harm. It started off slow at first. I was so fixated on the thought and so terrified to tell anybody because I didn't want to upset my family members. Speaking it out loud maybe meant it was true, and I just didn't talk about it. And then I had finally had enough, and I had like a little bit of a break, and I went to the hospital with my wife, and they have something in Florida called Baker's Act, and I had to spend 2 days in a mental ward being observed, and it was wildly uncomfortable. And the whole time I just thought to myself, how did I get here? Like, how did I let this happen? What's happening to me?
And the thought doesn't scare you now because you've stripped away the fear from it?
No, I stripped away the emotion. Maybe the fear will pop up every now and then, but the emotion's not there, and it's just a thought. I don't fixate on trying to get rid of thoughts. If I'm thinking about winning the lottery, I'm not devastated over it. So if I'm thinking about, hey, maybe I'll just crash the car right now, I know I'm not going to. I know who I am as a person, and I have the faith in myself to not attach that emotion to that feeling again. And I started getting back to my life, my routine. I went back to my job here that I currently work at, and everything was smooth sailing for about 5 or 6 years. And then
it was the second panic attack then, wasn't it? That really
it was the second panic attack. I was working out at a gym, and a friend of mine, well, more of an acquaintance at the gym, was just missing there. He wasn't there that day. And I had asked the owner, oh, where's Mike? I haven't seen him in a while. And she had let me know he had passed away the night before. He took his own life. And I just remember that feeling that I got, this sinking feeling in my stomach, because it was, he wasn't a great friend of mine. It's just someone I saw at the gym, like a gym buddy, a sports buddy. And I had seen him the day before, and I said to him, what the hell's your fucking problem? You look really depressed. What's your deal? Like, almost making fun of him a little bit. And, I got a sinking feeling in my stomach. I went into the bathroom, and I walked directly out of the gym, and I went home. And my world got real small after that real fast. That overwhelming feeling of anxiety and intrusive thoughts was constant. It was every day. I felt like, my trick of, as long as I don't go to Florida, I'll be fine, as it would turn out. That wasn't the case. And I felt, well, now there's something wrong with me. There's something going on here. Like, I didn't feel comfortable talking about it with anybody. I just kept telling everybody, oh, I'm fine, I'm depressed, I'm this, I'm that. I was manic at times, and it's strange that I have a very good group of people in my life, but nothing has ever made me feel as alone as anxiety does, ever. Like, nothing in my life had ever made me feel like no one could possibly fathom what I am going through right now. And that went on for a couple of years. I was talking to therapists. I never got on any medication. I don't know why. I was scared of the idea of being dependent on something, and I thought, you know, no, I'm a man. I can tough this out. Like, you know, I can get over it. And that fueled the fire a little bit for the anxiety, because it was very frustrating to me that I went from a guy who flew across the country to California and went bungee jumping with no thought process, just like, oh, cool, I'll go do that, to how can I possibly drive to work? This is terrifying. What if my safe person isn't there? What if I get a flat tire? What if, you know, the barrage of 50,000 what if thoughts a day? It consumed my life. And my brother then introduced me to DARE.
It was your brother who introduced you to DARE?
It was my brother who introduced me into DARE. And I will never forget the moment that I listened to the audiobook, and it was just, you know, your voice, and I cried for about 6 hours. Straight through, did not stop. Listened to it the entire time. One listen straight through, and it was remarkable how not alone I felt after that. And I felt a new sense of fire in me, like, hey, like, okay, this can be manageable. And I progressed through the steps and learning. It took a lot for me to really understand it, though. I'm going to say years. Up until the last maybe year, I've been, I think, working at it correctly, where, you know, I was using DARE and DARE app to get rid of anxiety. That's not the goal. That's not my goal anymore. You know, it's amazing to me how much I've changed my vernacular, even when I speak of it. It's just anxiety disorder. Like, I have disordered anxiety. Anxiety's never been the problem. My thought process has been the problem. And that is what I love about DARE, is how simple it makes it. Now, I understand it's difficult, but now, like, to this day, if someone asks me about it, I say, you know, an anxiety disorder is the paper cut of mental health problems. It is so treatable. It is a learned behavior, which is great news. I can unlearn it. And, like, that's just on the path that I've been now for the past year, I would say, productively doing it. I consider myself 75, 80% recovered. I can, for the first time in over 15 years, picture a life without disordered anxiety. And it's remarkable. Sitting here with you is proof that I can do that. You asked me to do this 2 years ago, I wouldn't even have looked at the website. So it feels good.
You told me when you joined the DARE community that it was actually a little bit awkward for you. Could you explain that more? Yeah,
so on the forums, I felt, for lack of a better way to explain it, you know, maybe it's my own toxic malehood, but I felt it felt there was a lot of women on it, and I just didn't feel like I had a fit. And I said, you know, I'm this 6'2" guy covered in tattoos, riding motorcycles, and, you know, here I am on this DARE forum, like, hey ladies, what does everybody think about this? And it just felt, it was hard for me to adjust. I didn't feel comfortable talking about it. And it's been a very big learning curve for me to get there, where in today's society, it makes more sense to me if I said to my friends, you know, oh, I had a bad day, I'm going to go home and drink 6 beers. That nobody's going to think anything about that. That's perfectly normal. Go get drunk. But if I said I'm going to go home and take a cold shower and journal and listen to the DARE app, I'd get like a lot of crazy faces. And, sure, you know, it's tough. It was tough for me to get comfortable with it. But, you know, working with DARE has helped me, number one, with my self-esteem. I don't even want to say it's absolutely helped me with my anxiety disorder, but more importantly, it's given me confidence in myself and, like, feeling more comfortable to talk about who I am, and it's helped me help other people. You know, there are other people in my life that I feel like an anxious person can tell another anxious person. You see that look in their eye or a twitch, and I feel more comfortable broaching that with them and letting them feel like they can comfortably talk to me about it, and especially another man. Like, you know, it's very important to me that everybody knows that it's a safe place to come to. Like, it's okay to talk about. It's not embarrassing. It doesn't make you any less of anything, you know. I think in a million of your daily dares and in the dare book, you say it's real bravery, and it is. And I truly feel that way, you know. In the moment of a true panic attack or anxiety or an intrusive thought, and you face it and you go for it anyway, that's serious bravery. Like, I feel that in my heart. And, you know, one thing that I have always done throughout the dare process is the dare for success. Everybody should be using that. That to me was the most integral part of my recovery, because it didn't even make me feel like dare did it. It reminds me that I did it, and that was the most important part for me. Like, it's trust in myself again, because I lost a lot of trust with myself with anxiety and panic.
And that's what you won back?
I won back trust, yeah, 100%, yeah. Like, full-on faith in myself that I got this. You know, even when I think, you know, about all my old safe behaviors, you know, I'd call James, who's in the other office there, is my dare buddy. He's my best friend, and he works here as well. You know, I would call him, and like, he would kind of guide me through in the beginning when I let him know, hey, you're my dare buddy. Like, this is what's going to happen. And now, even if I have a thought where I can always call James, it'll be okay. It doesn't end there. I said, I can always call James, it'll be okay. But he's just going to remind me that I got this, because I do. And it always ends on me now, which was important, because until I was ready to accept that I got this, yeah. I really wasn't making as much progress as I would like.
Yeah, that you are the cure.
100%.
I think men in the military who would watch this, the police force, construction industry,
yeah.
I think it'll really resonate really well with them. What would you say to those guys in terms of just any simple advice if they're stuck like you were back 6-7 years ago?
Don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to speak to someone about how you're feeling and your thoughts. You could waste a lot of time. Some might say 13 years. I wasted a lot of time in my life, and I've learned a lot across those 13 years about myself, but you're needlessly suffering. Talk to someone, a trusted friend, a stranger, a forum, check something out. Like, it's okay to talk about being scared. It's not a big deal. Everybody gets scared for a million different reasons. So whether yours is, you know, standing on the top of a building or going to a grocery store, it's nothing to be embarrassed about at all.
Bring it on, John. Brilliant. That was great. Really
Thanks.
Good. I love that.
I love to work out. I love to be with my family. Simple stuff. You know, I'm a homebody. My idea of a good vacation is being at home with my family and like enjoying my house and enjoying the time with my family, my friends. That's really what I love the most.
You got a tattoo recently. Tell us about that experience.
Sure. So obviously I have tattoos. I love getting tattoos. I like the idea of it. I just found it funny that I will go get a tattoo. I will sit for 4 or 5 hours getting my tattoo in an immense amount of pain, in a very uncomfortable situation in which I can't leave, and it's permanently changing my body. Then I'll be okay with that. But I will ruminate and think all day about getting a haircut. And it just shows, you know, how anxiety contradicts itself, where neither of those things are particularly dangerous. If I had to pick one that was, it's probably tattooing. But in my brain, somewhere along the line, I made this pathway that, you know, getting a haircut is dangerous, you know, or I'm scared, and what if I have a panic attack? And like, all those thoughts make me be hesitant towards doing that. But permanently changing my body, no, that's no big deal. We got it. So yeah. It really relayed to me the strong message of how ridiculous anxiety is.
How was that, John?
Like a knockout to me.
In a world where anxiety silently devastates lives, I'm Barry McDonagh, creator of DARE, the self-help program that has empowered hundreds of thousands worldwide to escape the grip of panic and anxiety. In this series, I'm in the US to meet 10 brave people to talk about their greatest fears.
I've got all that adrenaline.
Don't fear for your life. I'm a good driver, actually.
I don't want to be known as the guy that hurt you.
And how they dared to win back their freedom.
No!